Hello everyone, welcome to Astral Sagas. Today I'm here with an exciting and different video. Surely we all have lovely memories of cartoons we watched when we were kids, but did you know some of these cartoons give us wrong information? Today, we'll look into 20 mistaken facts in popular cartoons that might surprise you and even spoil some of your childhood memories. If you missed the previous part, you can find the link above to watch it. Fact 20. Krabby Patty's secret formula. The secret formula for Krabby Patties is actually crab meat. Yeah, Mr. Krabs once tasted one and said it tasted like crab. It's a bit unsettling, realizing that's what he thinks he tastes like. If you think about it, it kind of makes sense. I mean, Krabby is in the name, right? And we never really see other crabs around, just Mr. Krabs. Even his daughter isn't a crab. So maybe he's catching all the crabs in the sea to make his burgers. And get this, the Krusty Krab restaurant, it's shaped like a crab cage fishermen used to catch crabs. That's a pretty sneaky way to hide the truth from plankton. Fact 19. Tai Lung. Why does everyone love Tai Lung despite him being a villain? It's because his character is fleshed out so well, and it all starts with his name. Tai Lung literally translates to Great Dragon, so becoming the Dragon Warrior wasn't only his destiny, but it was in his name itself. On top of that, him being a snow leopard is no accident. In the wild, snow leopards are natural predators to red pandas and giant pandas. And who did he want to hunt down and defeat? Shifu the red panda and Po the giant panda. But there was one mistake made when developing Tai Lung's character. Snow leopards actually don't have strong enough vocal cords to roar, and that is like all Tai Lung did throughout the movie. But if you're gonna be a feared villain, you gotta roar. Fact 18. The Lion King. The original script for Lion King is nothing like we know it to be today. From the original story to the characters, every single thing has changed. Rather than the plot being based off of a sibling rivalry between lions, it was actually a war between the lions and the baboons. And the head baboon was none other than Scar. So Scar wasn't supposed to be a lion, but you know who was? Timon and Pumbaa. That's right. The meerkat and the warthog were originally written into the script as Simba's childhood friends and fellow cubs. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Was Rafiki evil because the baboons were the bad guys? Luckily, the answer to that is no. But that's only because Rafiki was never meant to be a baboon at all. He still played his same wise self, but instead of being a wise baboon, he was a wise cheetah. Thankfully, they changed all this because it just doesn't feel right. Fact 17. Supersonic Dragon Ball. So the theory is that Sonic kind of stole its whole universe from Dragon Ball Z. How? Well, take Supersonic, for instance. He's basically Sonic's version of Super Saiyan. Then there's the number of magical items, Dragon Balls, 7, Chaos Emeralds, also 7. And Sonic has Tails, right? Just like Goku has Krillin. Or you could say Tails is more like Bulma, the tech-savvy one. But still, Sonic's got his Tails. And then there's Knuckles, who's like Piccolo. Amy Rose, she's like Chi-Chi. But who's Vegeta? Shadow. Yeah, that makes sense. They even straight up admitted they stole Trunks. He's Silver. Fact 16. Toad's mushroom head. Did you know that Toad's mushroom head is actually part of his skull? Yeah, there's an X-ray scan that shows it's connected to his skull. Since he's a mushroom, it kind of makes sense that his mushroom top is part of him, right? Yeah, it does seem wild. It looks like a hat. But in the old Mario cartoons, it was portrayed as a parachute hat, although that's not considered official. In the movies, they wear their hats on top of their mushroom heads. Exactly, they're not just short people. They're mushrooms too. After all, it's called the Mushroom Kingdom. Fact 15. Why fish in Bikini Bottom wears clothes? Have you ever noticed that almost every fish in Bikini Bottom wears clothes? They all have shirts, pants, or both, except for Plankton. He's always just in his natural state, which seems strange. It's like he's not following the dress code. Actually, it turns out he's not really naked. In one episode, they show that his green body is actually a bodysuit. When he bathes or changes clothes, you can see that his natural color is pink. He has a bunch of those green bodysuits, so he wears the same outfit every day of the week. So even though he looks naked, he's actually just wearing his green bodysuit all the time. Fact 14. Was Scar a cannibal? After he pushes his own brother off the cliff and Mufasa falls to his death, his body is just left there. You might think the hyenas would eat him afterward, but according to Google, hyenas don't eat lions. The only other animals that eat lions are other lions. In the show, there's a scene where Scar is seen playing with a skull that looks like a lion's head. So did Scar eat his own brother? Well, not exactly. Hyenas might eat a dead lion if given the chance, despite what Google says. And that skull Scar is playing with, upon closer inspection, is actually that of a baboon, not a lion. But to answer the question, if Scar is considered a cannibal because lions eat other lions, then yes, but he didn't eat his own brother. Fact 13. Courage the Cowardly Dog. In the final episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, we finally learn why Courage is always so afraid. It starts when Courage sees a missing dog ad, triggering a flashback to when he was younger. He remembers going to the vet with his parents, but instead of helping them, the vet kidnapped them. This memory freezes Courage in the present, worrying Muriel. In his flashback, Courage sees dogs trapped in cages in the vet's secret lab. But in the present, Muriel takes Courage to the same vet without knowing his past. In the flashback, Courage witnesses his parents being strapped into a rocket, and now the vet plans to do the same to him. When Muriel and Eustace find Courage, they also get strapped to the rocket, putting them all in danger. Fact 12. Dragon Warrior, Kung Fu Panda. Why did Shifu get so upset when Po got appointed Dragon Warrior? Well, there's good reason. It all started way back when he was training under Master Oogway. He dedicated his life to becoming the next Dragon Warrior. But as time went on, Master Oogway never selected him. Then he got past his prime, and he realized that dream would never become a reality. So instead, he vowed to train the next Dragon Warrior, which is why he was so hard on Tai Lung. And Master Oogway still didn't choose him, so he took a new approach. Instead of putting all of his eggs in one basket, he decided to train 5 Kung Fu warriors, the Furious 5. That way, he could quintuple his chances of training the next Dragon Warrior. And just when all of his life's work was about to culminate in this huge, magnificent moment, Oogway chooses Po instead. So all of Shifu's efforts were for nothing. But he did learn a valuable lesson and had to swallow his pride that day. And when he finally believed and trusted Oogway's decision, he found his true calling and trained Po to become a true Kung Fu master. Fact 11. Forbidden type of bending in the Avatar. Did you hear about the forbidden type of bending in the Avatar world? There are 4 known types: airbending, waterbending, earthbending, and firebending. But there's one called blood bending that's really bad and banned. One night, Team Avatar meets an old lady while camping. She warns them about people disappearing during full moons. Later, they find out she's a waterbender. She shares scary stories about how the Fire Nation attacked her village, and she was the only survivor. She teaches Katara how to bend water from anything, even living things. And she has a special technique only usable during full moons. Before using it, she tells Katara how she escaped the Fire Nation by using water bending. Fact 10. Diego in Ice Age. Did you know Diego was originally supposed to die in the first Ice Age movie? Diego is the lion, right? The saber-toothed tiger. But when they tested that to kids, the kids were bawling so hard when Diego died, they wouldn't pay attention to the rest of the movie, so they had to take out his death scene, just so kids would actually pay attention. Kids have seen it, and they are traumatized by it. so they needed to make sure Diego stayed alive and became a mainstay of the Ice Age cast, so he's in every movie from there on out. Fact 9. Rafiki is not a baboon. When Rafiki said to Simba, "You're a baboon, and I'm not," we just thought it was crazy talk from the old baboon. Well, that's because Simba clearly isn't a baboon. He's a lion, but he was acting like a baboon. Meanwhile, Rafiki said he isn't a baboon at all, and it's the truth. While he does have most of the attributes of a baboon, there's one thing that makes him different. It's the iconic colors on his face, that red nose and the blue around the eyes. Baboons don't have that color scheme on their face, but there's one monkey that does, a mandrill. That's right, a mandrill fits the bill and is the only monkey that checks all the boxes for Rafiki. Fact 8. Mrs. Puff is quite an unusual character. Did you know she's not even really Mrs. Puff? Yeah, it's true. In one episode, there's a quick moment where they show a newspaper article revealing that Mrs. Puff was actually a criminal. She even went to jail once. In the subtitles, it mentions how she used balloon animals to distract people, and later we see her making a balloon animal. There's also a sneaky scene where a file labeled Mrs. Puff appears in her house, which is odd because she's already Mrs. Puff, right? Well, it's believed she stole someone else's identity to start fresh after her criminal past caught up with her. Fact 7. Princess Peach. Princess Peach represents the modern woman because of how she acts towards Mario. At first, she doesn't really like him until he becomes more powerful by using the power-up mushroom and turns into a bigger version of himself. Before that, she kind of disrespects him. She takes off his hat, makes fun of his size, and embarrasses him in front of others, saying he's not important. But after he gets the mushroom, she starts treating him differently. They spend time together, talk, and even flirt with each other. They seem to have a connection, especially on Rainbow Road. But Mario doesn't fully win her over because deep down, he's still a bit of a pushover. He offers to buy her a turtle, which shows he's trying too hard. Peach might consider going out with him, but Mario still needs to work on being more confident and assertive. Fact 6. The Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes had an episode that caused a lot of controversy. It was from the Tiny Toons series, which is meant for kids, making it even more shocking. In this episode, the three main characters find a bottle of beer and decide to drink it. After just one sip each, they become drunk right away. They start acting inappropriately, smelling bad, and behaving badly. Then they see a police car parked at a donut shop with the keys still inside, and they decide to steal it. So now these little kids are drunk and driving a stolen police car. To make things worse, they drive the car up Death Mountain. As expected, they crash through a sign, tumble down the mountain, and land in a graveyard. What's even more surprising is that you can see their souls leaving their bodies, and they appear as angels. It's a pretty wild concept for a kid's show. Understandably, the episode was taken off the air shortly after it aired due to its controversial content. Fact 5. Teen Titans. The original Teen Titans series often delved into deep topics, like when they showed Robin struggling with PTSD. Even though they defeated Slade before, Robin can't shake the feeling that he might still be out there. While the other Titans believe Slade is gone for good, Robin remains vigilant, constantly searching for any sign of him. During a battle with another villain, Robin spots Slade in the distance and impulsively goes after him. But Slade disappears before Robin can confront him, leaving the other Titans frustrated that Robin left them behind. Robin's obsession with Slade causes tension within the team, especially when he accuses Starfire of letting Slade escape. This leads to a heated confrontation where Starfire is left feeling hurt. Disappointed by his friend's lack of understanding, Robin decides to confront Slade alone. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, leaving viewers eager to see what happens next. Fact 4. Shy Guy has no face. I always thought that the mask was its face, like you can see emotions with the holes and stuff. In one of the games, there's a glitch, and it shows Shy Guy's face underneath the mask. and there is nothing. Well, maybe it's Boo that turned invisible because you saw it. That's the only explanation. It has to be a Boo. Because Boos do turn invisible once you look at it. So that ghost controlling that Shy Guy body must have ghosted once we got the glitch to see what that Shy Guy's face looked like. Fact 3. Does Gary actually like Patrick more than SpongeBob? Gary loves playing with his owner SpongeBob every day. But one day Patrick decides to get in on the fun. Patrick and Gary really hit it off, to the point where Gary still wants to hang out with Patrick at the end of the day. So SpongeBob lets Gary have a sleepover at Patrick's for the night. But when morning comes, Gary refuses to leave. And Patrick says, since Gary wants to be with him, he should just be Gary's owner now. So they put Gary in the middle, right between SpongeBob and Patrick, so he can decide who his new owner will be. And Gary goes straight to Patrick. SpongeBob is crushed. While Patrick and Gary have their fun, SpongeBob tries to find new pets to make Gary jealous. But nothing works. They're just not the right pet for him. The defeated Sponge finally gives up, and in the middle of his despair, Patrick and Gary come over to do some laundry. And when Patrick tosses his shorts into the laundry machine, Gary finally leaves Patrick and crawls in with the Fact 2 Pixar logo. You know that lamp in the Pixar logo? The one that jumps on the letter I? Well, it actually has its own short movie. It's called Luxo Jr., and it was Pixar's very first project. In the film, the lamp, called Luxo Jr., plays with a ball and accidentally deflates it. Even though the story seems simple, the way the animation was done impressed a lot of people. This short film helped Pixar become successful. It paved the way for them to make the amazing movies we know today. Luxo Jr. became Pixar's mascot and even made a cameo in Toy Story 3 as the lamp on Andy's desk. Fact 1. Disney villain. 3 times Disney villains got what they deserved. At number 3, we have Charles Muntz from Up, a man who spent his entire life dedicated to chasing Kevin the bird. Blinded by rage and desperation to get the bird, he leaps after them only to have his foot caught in the balloon strings and plummet to his death. At number 2, we have Yzma from Emperor's New Group. Fueled by years of frustration as Kuzco's advisor and a thirst for power after getting fired, Yzma tries to poison the Emperor, but after a mix, up of the potions, he turns into a llama. He manages to revert back while battling Yzma for the potions, where she ends up stuck as a kitten. At number 1, we have Lotso from Toy Story 3, who ended up strapped to the grill of a garbage truck after betraying his fellow toys for years.